Look at the bottom. That is what was in that hose. Ugh. Oh, that's gross. What's up, drivetrain? It's a cool day. We're in between snowstorms and rainstorms, and we've got another vehicle here in the shop. There's a friend of ours that you may have seen in a previous video. She helped out with an engine swap that some friends of ours did, and she spent a handful of days here. Well, she picked up this nice little Toyota Highlander right back here, which is a great vehicle. It's clean, it's super nice. We'll show you around in a minute, but she's got an issue, and the issue comes with all of the snow and ice and then rain that we've just had not too long ago. She has water, she texted me frantically, water pouring into the floorboard. Not just on the driver's side, but driver and passenger side. That was a handful of days ago. I said, hey, listen, I'm busy, but the best thing I can do, I can offer you a garage. You can park it in here and then come and shop vac the water out. And let's go ahead and, kind of get it remediated as much as possible. And then we'll try and find the solution. So we are going to jump into this. We're going to try and find a solution. Enough talking, let's get to it. So this thing's clean, man. It's a 2011 Toyota Highlander. It's super nice inside. You got perforated leather seats, kind of bougie interior that's really, really clean. The back is in really good shape back there. A lot of carrying space for one of these things. Anyway, it sucks when you've got a lake that forms in your floorboard. So what we need to do is first understand, if I jump up here, that a sunroof is never sealed. This little seal right here is never actually sealed. In fact, there's a little bit of a kind of a divot right here, and that's very common on both sides. These are not designed to seal 100%. They're designed to seal most of the way, but you're gonna have some seepage, some liquid's gonna get past. Now, when it kind of gets in there and then freezes, it expands, that's gonna make this gap even bigger right in between the white paint and this gasket. Now, to solve that, there's a little tray. There's a tray that comes like around here. It goes all the way to the other side, and it's underneath. It's between the roof and the inside of the car, and it has little drains. Those drains go right up in here, and they drain through this called the A-pillar. So there's actually a tube that's going to be, gracious, let me back you out, I can't. There's a tube that's going to be in here that runs down. It's going to run all the way down into the kick panel, and then it should exit the car. Now, one of the things I learned about this specific model, because this happens in Hondas all the time, and Hondas have a little tube, and over age, that tube shrinks up. It comes disconnected from the rubber hose that actually gets it out of the car, and with a little $5 part, you can fix that. Well, these, Toyota made a horrible choice, and they have it drain in between here and the inside of the car. And there's a little pinch weld. There's a little pinch weld down here, kind of right here, and it's designed to seep out of that pinch weld. How in the world does that pass like engineering? That is the stupidest thing ever. So you've got pinch welds that I guess are just gonna rust with age or whatever. They get clogged up with dirt and debris just because that's what happens with cars. Dirt gets everywhere. And so what we need to do is find a solution for pulling that hose out and getting it run somewhere else. But the challenge, we also want to make sure that these drains up here are cleared, because sometimes it's going to overflow. The water's going to come seep around here and somewhere down here make its way into your legs. And that's not good as well. So we've got to get the sunroof open. We want to clear the drains out, make sure that they're clear. We're going to pull the kick panels out on both sides, yank the hose up, and make sure that we have good air movement with some air nozzle back through the hose. Then we can work on getting that rerouted somewhere else. The other challenge, though, is they bought this vehicle, and the sunroof doesn't work. So we're gonna try and fix that. Now, normally, this is a brand new purchase. She just bought this car like 4 weeks ago. And she did the right thing. She took some good counsel. I always recommend if you're gonna buy from a small dealer, buy the extended warranty, because if you just buy the regular car and their regular warranty, it's 30 days and it's usually only if like the transmission goes out, then you can return it. But they buy these cars at a wholesale lot that are traded in from dealerships, and then they clean them up, they resell them. If you buy the extended warranty, it should cover stuff like this. They just went up to the same location that they bought the car from. The lot is cleared, the doors are empty, the shop is empty. There's nobody around, nobody answering the phone. So she kind of got screwed in the deal. Anyway, I said, bring it back by. We'll try and get this thing fixed. So we're gonna start with the sunroof, get the tubes out, and take you along for the process. Now, every car is different. What I have done some research on and found out about Toyotas is that if the sunroof is not operating properly, the tilt here, there's a tilt and then an open and a close thing. This, if you hold down the tilt, it goes through some resetting process. So we're gonna start out and see if we can do that. So let's kick the vehicle on. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. All right, let's go ahead and push and hold the tilt. All right, it's open. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna push and hold, and it should go back through a resetting process. So it's opened, I'm gonna hold it. And the way I understand is it should go and kind of restart this whole big thing here where it goes. I'm still holding it. There we go, now it broke loose. Yeah, it was not reset. Maybe somebody's been up in here and doing some work. I have to keep holding it though until it comes all the way back and stops moving, and then the reset process is done. All right, that's reset. Let's push this button and see if we can get it to open. Yeah, the back of it is not happy, but it is opening. And if I push it, it should close. And that's a step in the right direction. We don't have to hot wire this motor. So I'm gonna open it, and we're gonna go up front and look at the drains next. All right, so we're looking up here. There's a lot of dirt and debris. That's pretty standard. Need to get a light down in there to just kind of look and see what it looks like, but we're gonna just peek around and see how much stuff is down there in that drain, and there's another one over here where my head is, and so we'll look at that. All right, now this is kind of funny. When I look down here, let's see if we can get you guys to see it too. Let's see if you can see it. All right, when I look down in the hole, I'll put an arrow where the hole is. There's a leaf. There's a leaf just chilling there right inside of the hole, clogging the hole. That's the driver's side, and I'm sure the passenger side is gonna look similar. So we're gonna set you here. We're gonna go ahead and remediate some of that stuff, suck it out with the vacuum cleaner, and then we'll take a look and see if we can do any other stuff here, and then we'll pull down the kick panel stuff. All right, so we vacuumed up top. We have pulled out some of the leaves. We're gonna get back up there with some compressed air and some water, but the next thing we gotta do, kick panel action. So we're gonna take this panel up here, pull the kick panel off, pull the carpet up, and start to get into that door frame there. Now they had already come through the other day, pulled this panel off to be able to pull the carpet up and do some of the vacuuming that they needed to do. But let's see what we got here. That seems kind of attached. Let's get a tool. A little pry tool will be sufficient. There we go. Excellent. One panel expertly removed. So we're just dealing with these metal clips. Apparently there was another one in there. Let's see. Somewhere up here. We'll just kind of, I don't know. We'll get that resituated in a little bit. I'm going to come over here. Let's pull this panel off here. So I'm going to start pulling towards me, and then the back up here, there's probably a little, well, maybe not. Looks like it's been taken off before, maybe. Oh, there is a little twisty thing on there, so that's good. The car is super clean, but again, you get that when, in theory, they come from a small dealer. Oh, it's an actual nut. It's not even the standard like thin black one. So somebody's clearly been in here before. Let's get a light, shine up in there. All right, so let's see what we've got here. This hose is, I believe, the rear windshield wiper cleaner little thingy. And so that runs all the way back the length of the vehicle. We've got to get these cables out because there's a clear plastic piece here. We've got to get the tube that's inside. We're going to pull that tube out and possibly just use, what everybody else does for the fix is that down on the floor right below here, there is a rubber grommet, and you just get some plastic hose, attach it to this one so it feeds in and drains out of the car instead of into this cavity here. So we're going to pull this stuff apart and then look back in and get that hose out. All right, so this hose I just pulled out nice and easy. It's not really like tossed into anything. Once I got this clip out, the wire connector out, then everything moved pretty easily. But this is the hose. This is the problem. The problem is that it just goes right into this cavity that's back here, and it just sits in the ground and then it drains out. If you've got stuff that is clogged at the top or whatever, then it's not going to drain out. So, all right, so before we start doing all this, I want to take a quick peek and just make sure that there's not an issue up here, because she talked about water pouring out, and she said, I think it was coming from up here. So what I want to look at is the hose still connected up above? Is it connected to the drain that's up here, or is it disconnected and coming through, the visor area? Is it actually making its way down through the tube? So I've got me a little solo cup here, and I'm just going to dump a little water up top, just see if it runs down in there, and that's going to be my next test before I start going through rearranging everything down here. All right, conveniently, she's got some open water bottles in the door here, so I'm gonna do this. I want you to take a listen and see if anything comes out down there. All right, you ready? Tell me if anything comes out. Here we go. All right, we got a little water entered. Let's look and see. Probably take a minute for it to trickle down because it's not pouring down there. Where'd the water go? Well, the water's just sitting up there, so that's an issue. Next step, clean the drain. All right, well, hopefully you can see this. I put water here. This is some string trimmer. This is like weed eater trimmer line. It's usually pretty firm. And I'm just gonna try and hit a little light here. So I got that line going down in the hole. There we go. Now it just gurgled and went down. Let's see, quick, quick, quick. Look at that water coming out. That is black and nasty water right there. All right, so what does that tell us? That we've got an issue, Dave. Aww. All right, so that tells us that the drain up top here was clogged on the passenger side. That drain was not draining at all. We just tossed a little clearance in there, got a lot of black nastiness down into the cup. So that tells us that this was backing up with all the freeze thaw. There was a lot of water that got in there, froze, thawed, went to different places, froze again, and then eventually when it thawed out and it was raining a bunch, that water was just dumping out from overflowing underneath the sunroof into the material, into the lap. So we're going to come back with some compressed air in our nozzle. We're going to spray that out. We might be able to get this hose back into the same spot. It might actually function fine and not be clogged up. It was just the top. So let's do that. So I was going to pour this water out, but I wanted you to see what all is in there. Let me pour some of the water out here. Look at the bottom. That is what was in that hose. Ugh. Oh, that's gross. Probably why it wasn't draining. All right, so I just sprayed this out with some air. See, I put a paper towel down in there just so that if any other debris and stuff came out, it didn't splash all around. But I went ahead and blew it out from the top down with some compressed air, just on the air compressor with the nozzle on the end. I'm gonna run more water through it, and I think it really just needs to kind of be flushed. So I'm just gonna kind of keep dumping clear water into it until it gets cleanish. And then I'm actually going to put it back together from the factory the way it was. I don't think that it's overly dirty in there. I'm going to try and squeak this camera into that hole, take a picture of it, and then look. So if I get a picture, well, you'll see it here. All right, I'm back on the passenger side temporarily. I finished flushing it out from the top. I just ran like 2 bottles of water through. We took a look at that picture here. One of the things I just found was this. Here is a black grommet that I took off from right there. And you can see water dripping, okay? So there's where I took it off from. And the water is dripping. Now, it's not dripping out of the hole. See that? It's dripping from the pinch weld. That's what it's designed to do, which is incredibly weird. I wanted to flush it out. I was hopeful that this grommet was going to be an access hole, but it's not. So we're going to go ahead and stick that back on because, like I said, there was one on the other side as well. So that, I guess, is just access into this cavity here underneath this rocker panel. So it's weeping out. It's doing its thing. That's what it's supposed to do. I just dumped a little bit of water through and it went right on through. So I think on this passenger side, the true issue, like we said, was just clogged up at the top, and that was causing problems. We're gonna head over to the driver's side next, see what we can figure out. All right, the passenger side is seeming complete. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just try this driver's side with a little bit of water. If it clogs up like the other side did, then we'll put the string trimmer line through it. So let's try and go like this. I'm trying to get some light on here for you. I'm just going to dump a little water in here. See what it does. All right, it's gurgling, it's flowing, so that's good. So I think all I'm going to do is hit this with some compressed air now that the water's in there. And I didn't pull it all the way out, but I do want to look under the car and see if it's coming through. So let's go investigate. So in theory, it's coming down through the pipe. It's going to settle down behind all these electrical connections into that little cavity. and it should start to weep through down here. Now, you see that black thing? That looks encouraging, like it would be a drain, but it's not a drain. It's a different part of the vehicle. So we're going to see if that weeps out, but we're going to hit it with a little compressed air here, see if we can help give it a little motion. All right, we're on the driver's side. You can see by the water that's down here that we've been kind of letting it drain through. I just blew it out with some compressed air, so I really want to see how this thing drains now. You guys watch down there. I'm going to pour from up top, and let's see how this does. This is the driver's side. There we go. Pour it in. Let's see how she comes out. Look at that. It's starting to weep now. I'm trying to avoid pulling all the connections out on the driver's side. There's just a lot more because of the bulkhead, but you can see it seeping out there. Slowly but surely. I didn't dump a bunch of water in there, but it's seeping out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour more water in, probably a whole one of these bottles here. I'm going to pour in and just kind of let it sit down in there and hopefully kind of soak through things. I don't want to blow any compressed air once the water's in there because there's electrical connections on the back, but I'm just going to dump some more water in and we'll see how it goes. All right, so there you go. Toyota Highlander in that early 2010, 2011, 2012 range. That was their thought. That was their theory and their approach, and I think their engineers are stupid for that. Again, we could solve it. We could come in and we could pull that hose out. We could run it kind of behind the wires underneath, and then right down here, somewhere down here, there's that black grommet. That grommet right there, some people will drill a hole in and run the hose so it goes right down through there and out of the car. So instead of having water backing up in this little cavity here, it just immediately drains out, just 100%. That is more ideal, but instead of pulling all of these connectors out right now, I want to just give them a chance. Now that we've cleaned out the sunroof up top, we've cleaned out the drain holes on either side, we know we had an issue of a clogged drain on the passenger side, we're going to hope that this is fixed and just send them on their way. We're going to, I mean, they live right down the street. We've helped them out a couple of times. And so we're hopeful that this will end up being the fix that is good for this vehicle. Now, I am going to recommend for her to let the carpet dry out and then come back, or we'll run the ozoner in here so that if there is any residual moisture, potential mold that's growing, it's cold enough now, there's no mold growing, but who knows how long this has been going on with the vehicle. If it's gone through a fall, a spring, and a summer cycle, then there could be mold growing. That ozoner is going to go ahead and latch onto that stuff and kill it immediately. But hey, if you got questions, put those down in the comments section. If you've worked on anything like this, let me know in the comments section. Share your knowledge with the community, and we will catch you guys in the next video. That's it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Peace.